Today we're looking at eating and drinking during the festive season. Well, to share with us how not to overindulge and pack on those extra kilos, we joined. Don't look at me.
It's a daily battle.
We're joined by May Bhawan, our resident judge. May, good morning.
Hi, May.
Good morning.
Well, some of us, yes, it is a constant battle.
Yes.
Some of us, like I was saying earlier, started with Diwali and haven't. It's festive from then. It hasn't stopped.
I know.
So it is that season.
Yes, it is a silly season now, and I think everyone in their mindset has sort of switched off and saying they're ready for holiday, and you know, a lot of the times we focus so much on eating and drinking, which actually we need a little bit of rest. We need to relax, we need to unwind, sleep a little bit late, and focus a little bit more on just recouping and regenerating as opposed to just focusing on food.
Bubbles.
Listen, it's not saying that you can't have,
okay,
but I do think we need to start not necessarily all the hard work that we've done in the year just sort of go over in 1 month, and you know, so don't.
So you can have fun, you can enjoy the festive season. Just be mindful.
Be mindful, and I think there's a few things that you should try and keep in mind, and I think it's just keeping moving. So having to still exercise, and it doesn't necessarily have to be you going to the gym, but being outside and just enjoying, you know, long walks on the beach and swimming or gardening or something just fun. Being out in the sun, getting some vitamin D, and also just looking at alcohol. Alcohol is a big thing, and I think it's also just managing your units. I would say just start off with a sparkling water first, and then having to do an alcoholic beverage. But you know, there's so many ways.
Sparkling water in particular, or you're just using water as an example?
No. So maybe starting with that with
a lining.
Just a lining.
lining.
So start with that with a fresh lime, and then going on to your alcoholic beverage, and maybe you could start doing a little bit of a low-calorie version. So spritzing your wine with soda water and lots of ice. My favorite is always a vodka soda.
A vodka soda.
Yeah,
yes.
so definitely a shot of vodka with soda and fresh lime. That's quite a nice local alcoholic beverage, and also doing light beers as opposed to the normal version. So, but try to always hydrate and make sure that you're drinking enough water in between having any alcoholic beverages.
And just Ray, to look at what you said earlier, is we think, it's just a couple of weeks, it's December, it's going to be Christmas Day, then it's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, but we can do a lot of damage in just a few days for months of what we've put into our bodies.
And I think what we have to realize is that we're not saying that you cannot have any sweet treats or indulgences, but we still have to keep in mind moderation and not deprivation. So if you're having 2 small treats in that day, it's really not going to make a big difference. But I think as long as you're keeping consistent during the holidays and still keeping to your principles of eating healthily and making sure you're eating enough veg and your fruits and, you know, your general proteins and starches. But I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to say, okay, fine, we're on holiday, we can take a break of everything and just eat whatever we want, because you've actually worked really hard in the year, and for a few weeks you don't really want to mess that up a bit.
I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff you can do with your healthy options.
Yes,
as you mentioned, your fruit and the veggies. You can also include that as part of your celebration.
So especially braaiing is a big thing as for South Africans, and also not to have too many options, because if we have too many options, we want everything. So maybe, because you know we'll probably braai every second day, use one option so do a chicken option for that day and serve it maybe with a nice baked potato, and serve it with a big salad. And the next day you can do a piece of steak with a stuffed butternut. So there are ways of having to include, you know, your favorite meals, but then trying to balance it out with some sort of veg or a big Greek salad
and those large family gatherings. I mean, the December festive is all about family and getting together. You're going to have many more of those big lunches where everybody brings something. There's like 20 things on the table. And just some tips on how to navigate that, or things like a buffet.
So I think with the buffet as well, is my favorite, where definitely have a squiz around before, so that you have a guideline of, okay, what's on offer, as opposed to just, you know, getting your plate out and just dishing out, and then you realize, oh gosh, you know, I've filled up my plate with quite a lot already. So having a squiz and being quite mindful of half of your plate should be ideally veg, cooked veg or salad, and quarter of your plate should be some sort of lean protein, and quarter obviously some healthy complex type of carb. And listen, you will probably have dessert, and that's okay. So even if it's 2 small bites, I normally call it my 2 small bite rule.
2 small bites? I don't know if I can live with that.
Because remember, you
2 small bites today, tomorrow another 2 bites.
That's the thing, it's your frequency.
Dessert.
So it's your frequency. So instead of you saying, I'm just going to be doing a dessert, a full-on dessert every day, you can still have a little bit of a naughty treat, but I would say keep your portions a little bit smaller.
Yeah, just satisfy that craving.
Yeah, and also just make sure you drink enough water. Often we're out in the sun the whole day, and obviously drinking alcohol, and you need to still keep hydrated.
Okay.
So try and
common
do
sense.
That.
Yes, but there's no such thing as common sense.
Do not deprive yourselves, May
Yes.
say. Have a good festive season.
I like that.
More